Mike Tomlin, now jobless. Should the Arizona Cardinals pursue? No. Does it make it easier for the Cardinals to hire somebody of more quality, though, with Tomlin available? Yes. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's Clancy here. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast platform. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Lot to discuss today. Posted the show yesterday after Tomlin, before the Tomlin news dropped. So got to discuss it today. There's a rude awakening coming in. And it's softened a little bit by the Mike Tomlin parting of ways with the Steelers. I'll discuss the updated candidate list. We'll do that in the second segment, kind of take a little barometer check. There's a couple names added to the list. One okay, one not so great. But Mike Tomlin, is it Tomlin time? You wanted the alliteration. You got it, baby. That's why you come here. No. And disclaimer, in all red, Mike Tomlin ain't coaching the Arizona Cardinals, okay? I would find it very, very hard to believe that this is the landing spot that he would choose. But every time a candidate comes available, we need to talk about the pros and cons. Okay? I promised the Robert Saleh breakdown yesterday. New news came in. I promised the Robert Saleh breakdown today. Mike Tomlin news came in. I have already recorded the Robert Saleh full show for tomorrow. So I promise full deep dive on Robert Saleh, my #1 candidate, even though it seems more and more fleeting by the day that he would be an Arizona Cardinal head coach, with Brian Peacock from Locked On 49ers tomorrow. Now, Mike Tomlin is and will go down as one of the most respected, stable, level-headed head coaches in the history of the sport. He won a Super Bowl. He was hired to be the head coach at 34. He's 53 now. He's been there 19 years. They won a ring. They made the playoffs. They're always over 500. They're 0-5 in their last 5 postseason matchups. Mike Tomlin is the perfect dictionary definition of consistency. Mike Tomlin is regarded as one of the most respected people in the history of the NFL. Mike Tomlin is destined to be the head coach of an organization that's not the Arizona Cardinals. If he even looked west to the desert, I still don't think the Cardinals should hire him. And not even to say that he's going to garner between $15 and $20 million a year, I would expect. I just don't think the Arizona Cardinals are in a position to be able to be nursed back to health by a guy like him or John Harbaugh, who's already so far outside of the realm of the world in which the Cardinals are living right now, that it would be as impactful as people expected. What are the expectations if Mike Tomlin comes in? Playoffs? John Harbaugh, playoffs? It's like, this isn't the lens through which we should be looking at this team right now. This team is on the mend, figuratively and literally. They just went through quick relationship with Jonathan Gannon, didn't work. He's getting DC and head coaching looks elsewhere. I don't think Mike Tomlin would be enough of a difference maker in an effort to catastrophically, in a positive way. Catastrophically is not the right word. To monumentously shift the Arizona Cardinals starting next season. And while it seems dumb to say, because he's going to be a Hall of Famer, he won a Super Bowl a long time ago, but he won one. He's done a lot with very little quarterback play. He's had some of the most elite defenses in football. That's the Steelers. Ravens and Steelers, 1 and 1A in most stable organizations in the NFL. It's not the same here. It's not the same. He is stuck in his ways. This is who he is. This is what he's done. This is what he's produced. And this is who he is. Second time. I know I said it twice. I think malleability at this point is much more important than it's my way or the highway. Yes, they've won a bunch of games. Yes, he's done it without a quarterback. Yes, all of those things are true. I think the Cardinals need to be more Wild West if they want to compete next season or the year after. This is a direct correlative to the NFC West. I know they only play 6 games. I know I poo-pooed the idea of, bring somebody from the NFC West. Who cares? You only play them 6 games a year. It's the same kind of thing for this in the opposite sense, where it's like you need a fresh look on the game of football for the Arizona Cardinals to combat. It's like counter-programming to combat the 3 pseudo powerhouses that live in the same division. And I know this sounds dumb, and I know it sounds counterintuitive, and I know it's like, well, why would Mike Tomlin want to come here? I know. But I needed to take a couple minutes and be like, well, listen, if you wanted to come here for $6 million a year, okay. And I know it's not my money, and Michael Bidwell can pay whoever the hell he wants. This comes with a meteoric shift of power. It was kind of like Sean Payton going to Denver. The Waltons were like, fine. It's his world. Monty Osborne's just living in it. So if you want to give your keys to somebody like we're John Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin, which is something that I don't see Michael Bidwell ever coming close to sniffing to do. I mean, that's a conversation. But again, so much money, middle road, like this is tough. I've talked to Steelers fans. I've talked to people in the know in Steelers land. It's like, he could have been gone a couple years ago. But it's like, is a 9-8 record worth running it back? For the Cardinals, sure. But looking at what's happened with the Steelers during crunch time, what's happened with the Ravens during crunch time, you've got to look at this in a much bigger lens like, well, yeah, they won a bunch of games, which would be fantastic for the Cardinals. And then when push came to shove, falling short happened exponentially more than not. So it's like talking about it's like spending somebody else's money kind of, which is weird. It's like, well, yeah, you just want to get there and just have, those are champagne problems for the Cardinals. The Cardinals need to reach the age of 21 so they could drink champagne to be able to have those champagne problems. The other side of this, which is huge, every big name that enters the coaching pool allows the Cardinals to be in contention for one guy who maybe they weren't able to get because there's 9 gigs now, 8, 9. So now it's like, well, John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, those guys are at the top. Maybe Robert Saleh drops down a peg. Brian Daboll drops down a peg. Mike McCarthy drops down a peg. It's like, maybe the Cardinals don't need to settle for a first-time head coach who's just been a coordinator and doesn't have any head coaching experience. Like, so it does tangentially benefit the Cardinals, even if Mike Tomlin doesn't even know which way or where Arizona is on a map, for lack of a better phrase. And that, in and of itself, is a bonus, even if Mike Tomlin doesn't actually coach the Arizona Cardinals. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Got an updated list. Got a couple names. One, next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Rocket Money. Let's be real. Managing your finances can feel overwhelming. Between subscriptions you forgot about, bills that keep going up, and trying to figure out where your money actually goes each month, it's easy to feel like you're losing control. And who has time to track every transaction or hunt down the hidden fees? That's where Rocket Money comes in. The personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I was shocked when Rocket Money showed me I was paying for 2 Hulu accounts that I completely forgot about. I thought one had to do with my cell phone service. It ended up not, because I didn't want to do commercials. So I didn't realize I was paying for 2, and it's already saved me money. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNFL. That's rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNFL. rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNFL. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is also brought to you by Bink FanDuel. So the division round is here. FanDuel's officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel's giving customers even more ways to get in on the action because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. So each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to bets you like. The boosts give you more juice to the bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet something new, which is huge. It's like, hey, I like the Niners over the Seahawks. I'll boost that and just take the money line. You can do that. You don't have to like bet weird ways. You can just take, I like this one. Here's a boost so I can make a little extra cheese if it pays out. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. You make your picks, then apply your profit boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button, man. You know the drill. You know the drill. It's, this coaching carousel thing is wild, man. You've got all different, there's so many different skill sets. It's still predominantly defensive guys. So this is the updated list. Vance Joseph, Robert Saleh, Clint Kubiak, Raheem Morris, Matt Nagy, Anthony Weaver, Jeff Hafley, Packers DC, Mike LaFleur, Rams OC, Chris Shula, Rams DC, Thomas Brown, Patriots pass game coordinator, and then Jesse Minter, who they interviewed yesterday, the Chargers DC, and then two new names to the list, Matt Burke and from Texans DC, and Steelers OC Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith would be worse than Vance Joseph. I think that's safe to say. The offense for the Steelers this year was putrid outside of the rush attack, which kind of opened things up. DK Metcalf had a down year. They didn't use the tight ends well at all. Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith, who they traded Minka Fitzpatrick and a pick for, were afterthoughts. I think that would be a huge deterrent. Now, Matt Burke, who was an Arizona Cardinals defensive line coach in J.J. Watt and Zach Allen's last year here for the Arizona Cardinals, heads the best defense in the NFL. So there's two different schools of thought here. One, is it the talent? Or two, is it his scheme? The scheme that you'll see tomorrow when I talk to Brian Peacock is the least static scheme in the NFL in 2025, meaning they give the least amount of exotic looks. They are in their base, and they are in their base, and they will beat you to the quarterback. They don't blitz much. They rush with four, and they get home. So when you look at that for the Cardinals as pertaining to their personnel, looking at Walter Nolan maybe missing a large chunk of time, same with Garrett Williams, whatever they're going to do in the draft, is that the right defensive scheme to bring in? Robert Saleh, they're bottom 5 in static movement on defense as pertaining to sets that they show opposing offenses. Is that beneficial? And Brian Peacock breaks that down very nicely, and we'll get into that tomorrow. Cardinals have 13 names, including John Harbaugh, that they talked to, over the phone. And I think this is the definition of casting a wide net. So whatever Michael Bidwell said, we're going to cast a wide net, not look at somebody internal. Obviously, there's nobody internal to interview right now, even though they did interview Vance Joseph early on a couple years ago. But there's a bunch of names, but it's a lot of defensive guys, man. It's a lot of defensive guys. Out of the 13, the only offensive guys are Arthur Smith now, Mike LaFleur, Matt Nagy, and Clint Kubiak. So do with that as you wish. I said this a little bit yesterday. I don't know at this point if this is because they're eyeing the defense as going to be the strength and that's what they want the calling card for this for this team to be, or if the offensive guys just aren't as talented as the defensive guys as pertaining to potential head coaching candidates. A lot of this is too early to tell. A lot of this is because a lot of names on that list haven't been a head coach before. Raheem Morris is on there also. So this is still very much a wait-and-see situation. A lot of it has to do with a lot of these coaches are still coaching in the playoffs. So once this weekend passes, you're going to be able to at least interview one team's coaches from the NFC West, either Seattle or the 49ers. So you're going to get Kubiak or Saleh. Robert Saleh, he's my number one guy at this point. I know the offensive side is what you're supposed to look at this point of this year, and I've talked a lot about kind of zagging where other teams are going the other way with a zigzag. It's like the Cardinals need to stop the bleeding. They need to stop the bleeding. And I mean, maybe it'll work. Hashtag analysis. Maybe it'll work. It's a long list. It's a longer list than what they had going into 2023. I think there's more qualified candidates across the board than what there was that offseason, especially those that would take a look at the Arizona Cardinals. And let's be honest, and regardless of what one would say about the health on the field, not even just like injury-wise, the talent on this roster is significantly more talented than the one in 2023. Exponentially. They didn't even retain 50% of the guys on the 2022 roster moving into 2023. This is not a perfect situation. This is not a perfect situation. What is getting better, though, is the fact that John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin are now eligible for other positions that would knock a couple other very qualified guys into the Arizona Cardinals pool. And this is something that it's just something that just going to have to deal with at this point. Can't put last year together and fire Jonathan Gannon, so not blaming injuries, it was coaching, and expect the bell of the ball just to knock on your door. It's going to be a rude awakening for the Cardinals and Cardinals fans throughout this process. What do I mean? I'll discuss it next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Ultimate QB Football Legend. The draft pick positions are set. So many teams are looking for their franchise QB. Ever wish to be a pro QB? Getting drafted first overall by the Arizona Cardinals? Well, now you can. There's a mobile game just for you called Ultimate QB Football Legend. In this game, you step into the cleats of a number one draft pick quarterback, and it's your job to lead your team to greatness to help turn a failing franchise into a dynasty. And this is the number one QB career mode game on mobile app stores, and it introduces the most realistic environment with full career control. Sign contracts, train and upgrade yourself, build chemistry and evolve your teammates, give input to your GM on roster moves, play the actual game in 2D, and rise through the ranks to become a pro football legend. Ultimate QB is totally free to play, has no ads, and works 100% offline. Perfect for when you want to sneak in a quick game or two on the go. Just head over to ultimate-qb.com. That's ultimate-qb.com, or search for Ultimate QB in the App Store. And we've got something special just for you guys. Use the promo code LOCKEDON, all caps, in the game store to get a free boost at the start of your career. Ultimate QB Football Legend. QB1. It's your legacy, man. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button. You want to become an everydayer? The link is in the description. Ad-free podcast, members-only Discord. We've got some people trickling in, having conversations there that I'm a part of. Like, if we want to really get tied in this offseason, join the Everydayers Club, man. Join it. We're ripping, almost at 5K subscribers. Thanks to everybody who subscribes. If you're watching right now and not subscribed, maybe give the subscribe button a little push. Little push. Helps a lot. This is going to be a rude awakening the next month or so. Free agency's around the corner. That is going to be a little bit more palatable, you would think, with some money to spend. They've got all their draft picks. They've got The Arizona Cardinals, when healthy, are so much closer than people think. Well, I think people think that they're close, but there was just no trust in the last regime to get the talent out of them, or it was Kyler Murray thing / Jacoby Brissett thing, or whatever it may be. Free agency is going to be fun because money talks in a lot of situations. Money talks in a lot of situations, not necessarily for the head coaching position. The rude awakening is the Arizona Cardinals are the bottom of the totem pole. They're the last, viable option, or the least viable option for a guy that wants to come in and rip right away. Now, that's not to say that a guy can't take the Cardinals from worst to first. Obviously, there are things that happen, but this isn't a very attractive space right now. It was almost more attractive when Jonathan Gannon took over because it was a clean slate. It was a blank canvas. Kyler Murray's coming back week 10, first-year throwaway, whatever it was, all the money, all the draft picks, whatever it is. It was like Tennessee's got $100 million to spend right now. The Cardinals don't. They've got like 30. So even though the Titans look like a less desirable spot, Cam Ward, $100 million, picks, no state income tax. Like John Harbaugh's on a short list over there. So the Cardinals are going to be fighting uphill during this battle. It's going to be a matter of finding the right person who could come in and, you want to use a cliche, make an impact right away. With that list, there are varying degrees of experience, talent level, irrespective of time of type of coach, offense or defense. I'm slowly starting to prepare myself to watch the introductory press conference for Vance Joseph as head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. I'm just slowly starting to prepare myself. There are, national pundits that put Clint Kubiak here because, listen, dysfunctional organization, sure. Travis mockery of a 2025, yup. Talent, yeah. Like maybe Clint Kubiak sees Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey Benson, and Michael Wilson is like, I could work with that. But he's also the number one mind for head coach on the offensive side of the ball, you would think, even though Matt Nagy has experience. So as we continue to witness this process, which will go in hyperspeed after the divisional round, the rude awakening is probably going to come in when Robert Saleh takes the Steelers or Ravens job, which he should. Like, this is where it's a double-edged sword, where Tomlin is out, so that adds another high-value spot, but also knocks down the rungs for everything else, where the Cardinals could land somebody that they may not have been able to land, as I talked about in the first segment. This is going to get worse before it gets better, but it could get better very quickly after it gets worse. The uncertainty, the fear of the unknown is real. I said for years, the excitement of the unknown, the possibilities, the what ifs, the question marks usually have positive answers regardless of what the answer is. Now we're back to square one. Fear of the unknown starts with who the head coach is. Then you look at what their strength is, and you say, okay, who's going to be the coordinator that's going to run run the world on the other side of the ball? That's scary. It's like running where we are, media members, fans. It's like running a company, but not being able to talk to anybody in the company to see what's going on. You're watching it. You're not able to ask any questions. That's kind of where we are, kind of helpless. Sitting on our hands, as it were. And then the dominoes start to fall. It's like, okay, defensive-minded head coach. Okay, who's the best OC you can bring in here to maximize? Okay, is the head coach going to call the defense? Are you bringing in a more of a wily vet to call their defense? Okay, so now it's set. So now what does it look like for free agency? What player personnel is going to fit this the best? What does the unified front look like? Are you going to trade for a quarterback? Are you going to roll with Jacoby Brissett? Like, all of these things are going to come with clarity quickly once that first step is done. But right now, the rude awakening is The Cardinals aren't going to have their pick. They're picking 9th in the fantasy football draft out of 12, or 9th out of 9. And this isn't a snake draft. It goes 1 through 9, then 1 through 9. So there's no benefit to picking 9th. They're going to have their pick of a much shallower pool because of, Giants, Ravens, Steelers, etc. And I know that it shouldn't be a surprise. I think the rude awakening is going to be when we're witnessing it in real time, like, oh boy, this is what this feels like. This is what this feels like to be picked last for recess, to be picked last during dodgeball or pickup basketball. This is what it feels like. It hasn't happened yet because it hasn't kick-started yet. I'd be shocked if the Cardinals got the guy that they absolutely wanted. It's a matter of having somebody with promise who can elevate this roster from the doldrums that they're at more to sea level. And there's still so many more questions and answers at this point. We just kind of hold on, sit on our hands, and hope for the best. A lot more will be, clear after either Clint Kubiak or Robert Saleh get those first round of interviews after their loss this week. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Remember, without you, there is no me. Brian Peacock from Locked On 49ers joins me tomorrow for a full in-depth look at Robert Saleh. Talk to you then.